Hey everyone, it's Jack with Average Consumer, where we try to answer two questions. Is it worth your time and is it worth your money? And this week, as promised, I'm going to try to do my best to compare the 560S to the 6XX. If you're familiar with these headphones, you are also familiar that they are roughly $200 each, and you're probably doing a comparison trying to decide which is going to be best for you. Well, we're going to do my best here to try to break this down. If you happen to see my last video, you probably already know where this is going to be going, because this is a perfect example where these headphones measure fairly similarly. In fact, this is probably going to be the only episode or video that you're going to see in a while that actually I'll throw up a graph to show you how close they actually do measure, but they sound actually quite different. And the use cases are going to be very different. So let's start with the 560S and its build quality, which is primarily plastic. And the benefit there is that these are very light headphones, and they get to be very comfortable to wear over long periods of time. And I think that also has to do with the pads. The pads here are maybe a bit not as aggressive as the 6XX. The 6XX, actually, their velour pads seem to feel like there's more of a ridge on it, and it actually starts to get a little wearing on the back of your jaw. Now, these have a kind of a flatter pad, and the pressure seems to be a bit better distributed across the side of the heads. So even though there's a lot of clamping force here, especially when you get them first out of the box, in fact, any Sennheiser headphones have that clamping force issue. These kind of break in a lot faster, and they frankly got very comfortable very quickly. With all their whole plastic build, including the yoke and even this in this side panel, I think this is plastic. Don't quote me on that, but it sure feels like it's plastic throughout. It does seem like these are going to last a very long time. In fact, they have the same type of build as you would see any of the 500 series headphones. With that being said, another thing that is different here is the single adapter for the plug. And this is a proprietary adapter. So if you are going to replace the cable, spoiler alert, you're going to be replacing this cable. You will need that proprietary cable in order to get that to fit. This cable is, the reason I say you're going to end up replacing it is because it is extremely long, extremely spaghetti-like and janky. You probably have heard other people mention it, but I'm going to do so again. The thing is, see, there's even a knot in here already. And then it eventually terminates to a 1/4 inch. And then they do include another 4-inch dongle to terminate to a adapter to terminate to a 3.5 millimeter, but then that makes this long cable even longer. So keep that in mind. These are a bit easier to drive. So I frankly haven't had any issue driving them off my phone. Or frankly, you can even do that with the 6XX. However, for the best performance, they're always going to recommend you getting an amp. And I definitely see a performance improvement there. I do run a very small shit full of 2. Just like an average consumer, I've been doing my best to just try to keep things as basic as possible. And so I have the minimal, kind of a very minimalistic amp DAC setup here. Otherwise, up until recently, I was just driving everything off my computer. Heading over to the 6XX, build quality is just a bit better, and in comparison, this feels premium. There's metal here, metal on the grill. I just dig the design. I just think that seeing the internals is kind of cool. The cable is way better. It has it's two pins on both earpieces. I'm sure these are. I don't know if you would really want to replace this cable. I like this cable quite a bit, and it ends in a 3.5, and then you use a standard 1/4 inch adapter for your DAC. Like I mentioned, the pads here do feel a bit of aggressive, and it starts to wear and get kind of sore behind my jawline. However, I had the 5.8X previously to this, and once they kind of adapted, I didn't have that problem anymore. They both share this type of headband. I probably, because some people might find this a bonus, with the 6XX, you do get a display box or a storage box. That's quite nice. It's even hinged, filled with foam, and that's included with the 6XX. So when you get this, there just seems to, it feels more premium. You're getting something special when you get a 6XX. If you're familiar with the 5.8X Jubilee, you're probably going to be, it's going to be a similar experience to the 560S. It essentially comes in a cardboard box wrapped in plastic, no bells and whistles there. It's just loose in the box. Not a bad thing. In fact, my display box is probably going to be going on the shelf, because as you can see, I put my preferred headphones hanging on the wall behind me. So it's not something I'm probably going to use, but it is kind of nice, and it kind of makes you feel a little special that you got the 6XX, because it is kind of a legendary headphone. So sound quality. These two headphones couldn't sound more different, and this is where things are going to get a little dicey, because unlike some people, I'm going to tell you that this is a great example of the right tool for the job. And we're going to start off with the 560S is supposed to be a very flat, reference-oriented headphone. And a lot of people love that. They want a flat headphone with a lot of retrieval and a lot of detail. With the 560S, you are getting that. It is a flat, and it's going to be great for those people who want exactly what the music was supposed to sound like and the way it was recorded. What I had mentioned in my previous video is that a lot of average consumers will prefer that V-shaped sound to our music, and sound to everything we listen to, frankly. So we like to have a little bit more bass, and we like to have a little bit more treble. It's that V-shaped. There's a perfect example is some of the most popular headphones is like Beats, for example, or even Apple's headphones. All of those very popular headphones have a V-shaped sound signature that a lot of people like. And some people will prefer to do that using their equalizer. With that being said, it's not that both of these are fairly flat headphones. It's just that these are being touted and sold as a reference grade headphone, and very, very flat. And that's where a lot of the hype is coming from. Everybody is really enjoying these extremely flat sounding headphones. Unfortunately, I'm going to say flat sounding can also lead to boring, and that's where things are going to differ depending on its use. Let's start in the bass. This is a new driver, efficient driver, and it is going to be fast and accurate on the bass. And although any open back headphone isn't going to be a very bass heavy headphone, it is going to provide that type of reference grade bass that a lot of people and a lot of professionals might be looking for. So the bass is there. It's just not as I'm going to say, just not as pleasant as you're going to find on the 6XX. This just sounds a bit more natural to me, and it just seems to be a bit more pleasant for the bass. Although this is quite good. I can understand why people are really enjoying the bass on these headphones. The mids are going to be very flat, but unlike the 6XX and a lot of other Sennheiser headphones, this is where things change drastically. Sennheiser is typically known for its natural, intimate mids. And that's typically why people buy the Sennheiser headphones, is because of their natural mids. And the mids are very important because we have the vocals and instruments, a lot of that stuff, acoustic instruments especially, kind of ride that mid section. And we kind of want that natural sound. You're going to get that definitely on the 6XX, way better than you are going to on the 560S. In fact, I'm going to say that the 560S, although flat, it almost seems like some of that stuff is taking a step back from the microphone. So it sounds a little thinner or even a little artificial to me in comparison to the 6XX. Going into the treble, because everything is so flat on the 560S, and it even sounds like the mids are recessed a little bit, or they're taking that step back. The treble here sounds a bit more exaggerated because of it, and it's almost flirting with being a little sibilant. That's not the case. It never seems to get there for me, but it's like I said, it's flirting with it. It doesn't seem to be fatiguing at all to me at all, but I think I mentioned that after a 2-hour movie, you take your headphones off and you do find yourself relaxed a little bit that it's over. So maybe it's a little bit more fatiguing than you realize. You're just enjoying it and it's a good time. The 6XX is definitely a warmer headphone. And a lot of people prefer that warmth. And again, it sounds natural and it sounds right to the mix of the music. I think, depending on the amp and DAC and amp that you might have, the 6XX is known to scale very well. So as you upgrade your additional desktop equipment, whether you get upgrade your DAC, you upgrade your amp, you get something with tubes and stuff in it, this is going to sound better and better and better, and depending on the scenario. So I'm kind of looking forward to that and looking forward to the experiments there. The 560S, frankly, kind of sounds the same no matter really what you put it on. Although I did see another reviewer say that these sound great with a tube, and he frankly thought that you needed a tube to just kind of quell this a little bit. But with that being said, what I wanted to point out is that I do not think that the 560S is more detailed or more resolving than the 6XX. It's that because of that excited sounding treble, I think more treble is kind of, people are confusing a little bit with more treble to more detail. And I don't think that's really the case, but I could be proven wrong on that. I just think that when it comes to it sounding natural, it sounds more natural on the 6XX. So it goes down to the use case. Like I mentioned before, where are each of these best used? I think the 6XX is best used for music. If you are that's primarily what you are going to be using your headphones for, is music, and you're a music lover, you want that audiophile experience, get the 6XX. And frankly, it is a classic headphone. Scales great. It is going to be very resolving. It does take more power to drive. On the Shitfull of 2, I'm usually at probably at the 10 o'clock, if not a little higher, for where I listen to this. On the 560S, I'm at 9 o'clock. So it is a fairly big difference between driving these headphones. And I know that I don't have the greatest and best DAC amp thing here. But I think it gives you a fair representation of the kind of power that these take. As for movies, I actually preferred the 560S. And I would also say that I did do a slight amount of gaming, and I would also say the 560S produced a better situation there as well. although Sennheiser has a gaming headset that you probably want to take a look at because the Soundstage is supposed to be quite a bit better and kind of geared for gamers and in that situation. So that might be a better headphone for you. And I think Drop also sells that. And it kind of looks cool. The yellow and black, it looks kind of neat. I am going to touch base on the Soundstage a little bit, and I'm only going to say a little bit because, frankly, the Soundstage isn't as big as some people are suggesting either. The 6XX, of course, has the traditional Sennheiser 3-blob left, right, middle. Although what's kind of neat about the 6XX is that even though it's left, right, and middle, it's layered, so you can still have a lot of instrument separation, and it's almost like the instruments are lined up behind each other, and you can really pick them out, and the details there are great. In fact, I can't say enough. The 6XX is just a great headphone. The 560S, although the Soundstage is bigger, it is, we're talking about from here to here. It's not a huge open room situation. The Soundstage is bigger, but it's not that much bigger. In fact, I recently watched the Matrix movies again, and trying to get ready for Matrix 4, and man, I hope it's a good movie. But that being said, on the 560, that was some pretty cool stuff where the Soundstage, vertically is quite good on here too compared to the 6XX. And when the bullets dropped, you could hear them dropping towards your feet, and that was kind of neat. But that's about the limits of the Soundstage there. So again, this is going to be a situation, the best tool for the best job. If you are a producer and you're producing content, whether it's music or videos or what have you, maybe you just want to watch movies. I would say the clear winner there is for the 560S. If you are a music lover and that's your primary use for your headphones and you just want the best natural, rich sound, 6XX. Well, I hope that clarifies things. I can't believe I've talked this long. And I would really appreciate any kind of feedback you might have. I'm trying to improve these videos. I'm trying to keep this as average consumer as possible. And frankly, I just realized I have a little piece of paper on my shirt. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on some of this stuff. And regarding the DACs and the measurements and stuff, maybe I'm way off base there. Give me some feedback. I'd love to hear from you. If you made it through the whole video and you saw some value here, like and subscribe and share. That would be great. I really appreciate your time. Thanks, and I hope to see you again.